Just before we start the podcast, we would like to invite you to get a copy of our new book called Living from Your Art. You can find it on any Amazon platform. You will see it's a very bright colored orange and yellow book cover, and it was made for you artists because you help us live in a better world. We want to help you get more work. So thank you so much, and let's start this podcast.
Hey, hello everyone. Welcome for another episode of the Puppet Podcast. I'm Caroline. I'm doing this podcast with a lot of passion and excitement because I love puppetry and I want to bring the follow spot towards this art form and all of those derivation and because it's amazing. So please, feel free to comment, to talk with us, to ask questions during the interview because we are live. But if you watch it or listen it afterwards, we can also have you chatting with us on those multimedia platform. Let's have this live stuff going on. So before we go into the interview, you saw we have a wonderful guest. I'm so excited because we have legend in our puppetry world, and I'm so glad that as we do this podcast and we reach many people, we have more connection, and that's the magic of social media and live, because we connect and we communicate and we say we are there, here, let's be in touch. So we have the wonderful Mallory that I will bring in the screen in a second. But before that, I want to let you know that our Patreon is still going around, and we have a workshop coming really soon, something really wonderful about lambe form. But I won't say everything. Just have a look on our Patreon. All the details will be there really soon. So everyone, that's the time for the drum roll. And please say hi. Yes, in the comment I saw. Yeah, Africa is with us. Yeah, it's so great to have we are live, to have people around. So cool. Yes. So now that's the time for the drum roll, and let's bring our guests into the screen. Yeah. Hi, Rachel. Hi, Murat. Everyone watching. So cool. Let's drum roll for Mallory Lewis.
Caroline, you are the cutest person I have met in a long time.
Thank you. That's from you. It's kind of wow. It's great to know. Woo! Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
I'm honored. I'm so honored. I always say a long introduction for you, but I always love to hear the introduction from the mouth of my guest because I feel it's precious. So please, Mallory, could you introduce yourself?
Yes. My name is Mallory Lewis. The most important job that I have ever had is being my son Jamie's mommy. The second most important job that I have ever had is being Lamb Chop's big sister and Shari's daughter. And I like long walks on the beach, and I don't like mean people. No, just kidding. My hobbies are horseback riding and sailing and scuba diving. But most of the time I travel around the world playing with my socks.
That's so amazing. So for people who don't know Mallory, she's the daughter of Shari Lewis, Shari Lewis. That's kind of wow. and this woman is kind of a legend as a woman in the art business, in the TV, and from her time, at that time, to have a ladies doing all of that. Yep. That's amazing.
Mom started she started at the age of 3. My grandpa was Peter Pan the Magic Man, the official magician for the city of New York. And she first went on stage when she was 3 years old. By 1956, she had her own television show. By 1957, Lamb Chop was born. And Mom was on TV every day until 1999. And the story of Mom's life from a little girl in the Bronx to an international superstar is told in our upcoming book, Shari Lewis and Lamb Chop, the team that changed children's television.
Yes, because that's true. This
So
book
excited.
will be something like to because
It has fabulous photos also, which I was so excited. We have a documentary on Mom coming out, I think, next spring. And so we had digitized 500 photos. God bless Lisa, our director for the documentary, who went through the boxes of photos because I didn't do it. So we have a great array of photos of Mom from when she was little to, you know, behind the scenes stuff that we never let out to the public. And great stories that tie in with the pictures. We just found a picture of Mom when she was in England and got to meet the Queen. So she's standing in line after a royal performance, and Princess Margaret comes over to Mom and says, you know, how did you become a ventriloquist? And Mom said, well, my dad was Peter Pan the Magic Man, the official magician for the city of New York. And Princess Margaret said, yes, one does tend to go into the family business, doesn't one? So stories like that are in the book. Really good stuff.
wow. But I'm so curious about like this, how it is for you also to have this legacy. It's kind of it's part of you,
Well,
and
one does tend to go into the family business, doesn't one? No, it's absolutely wonderful. I am the luckiest person in the world. I open all of my shows by saying to the audience, listen, I know you wish you could have bought a ticket to Shari Lewis and Lamb Chop. I wish you could have too. But no matter which haircut you remember of Mom's, whether it was the high ponytail, the bob, the shag, the curls, and the high ponytail, you're going to get to see your Shari during this show, because my show is about half me and Lamb Chop and Hush Puppy singing, and I won't say dancing, but moving with style. And doing comedy. And the other half is me curating stories about Mom and sharing curated videos of Mom. And I am greeted with such love everywhere I go because people loved Mom. And I'm so grateful for it. People cry, people hug me. After every show, people come up and they go, oh, that was great. Your mother would be so proud. Now, who doesn't want to hear that? So I consider myself very, very lucky.
wow, that's well said. But I want to hear you also, and maybe you can bring the aspect of your mother. Why both of you cherish puppetry, like ventriloquism and puppetry?
Well, for me, it is an inherited thing. I mean, it's, you know, it's, I mean, I love puppets. I adore Lamb Chop. But I don't, but for Mom, it was something she did better than pretty much anybody in the world. And so my mother really cherished excellence. And she wanted to be a ballet dancer, and she had gotten into ABT, but she was 5 foot tall. So, you know, you can't be a prima ballerina at 5 foot tall. And when she realized she was never going to be a prima, she was like, oh, I don't want to do this. I want to be the best at what I do. So ventriloquism and the honesty of her relationship with Lamb Chop was what really attracted her. I think that's what makes one puppet stand out from other puppets. It's not the puppet, whether it's a sock puppet or a wood puppet or a marionette. It is the relationship that the puppeteer and the puppet can have together.
Wow, that's well said. Like this.
And that's actually the first time I've said it, which is pretty amazing.
Wow, but because that's true. It's like what makes ventriloquism so excellent is that this relation work really well.
Yeah.
So yeah, and Lamb Chop is like, what is Lamb Chop for her, for your mother?
Lamb Chop is a 6-year-old girl.
Yeah.
And Hush Puppy's an 8-year-old boy. Charlie Horse is a 12-year-old boy. Classic oldest child, Charlie Horse, kind of a bully, brash. Classic middle child, Hush Puppy, apologizing for everything. And classic littlest and only girl, Lamb Chop, because it is all about her. So Shari was the puppet's mom, although I hate to think of what she had to do to get a dog, a horse, and a lamb as a child, but whatever. And I'm Lamb Chop's sister. I am not her mother, and our relationship is vastly different than Mom's and Lamb Chop's relationship. She is not that impressed with me.
Yeah, but that's kind of smart to keep it that way. Like, well, the mother.
If your relationship with your puppet isn't honest, then it's going to read as fake. That's why I like the people who have sort of insult puppets, where the puppet, so.
But what makes this relation amazing is the love. I feel you have like those deep love connection. Like,
I love Lamb Chop. I love Lamb Chop so much. She is my little sister. I have devoted I've pretty much devoted my whole life to her because I was Mom's head writer and producer. And when Mom died, I took over Lamb Chop because there was just no way I was going to let Lamb Chop be dead. And so the upcoming book and the upcoming documentary make me so proud because I feel like I have not only kept Lamb Chop alive for the last 23 years, but I can sort of put a button in it with, both a book and a documentary on my mom.
Yes. And we will have link. So if you are curious, people, like just below the interview, all the links. Yeah, be curious. Click on the link, and yes, enjoy to see what are these books. What is this?
Especially the women out there, because it is not just a book about a nice little lady who played with puppets. Because my mom was, although she was nice and she was little and she was a lady, she wasn't a nice little lady. She was a businesswoman. She was a mother. She was a wife. And as women, as you know, Caroline, that's a lot to have on your plate, because you not only have to parent your business, you have to parent your child. And most of the time as women, we kind of have to parent our husbands. So there's a lot of talk in the States about the emotional responsibility that women take on. It's not just the cooking of dinner, but somebody's got to go to the grocery store. And you have to plan in advance. So my husband, is great. And he takes on a lot of the emotional responsibility, but he was a firefighter for 34 years. So they're used to being self-sufficient in a way that a lot of relationships are not. But no, being a woman in the 50s when Mom started, she was making literally 10 times what my father was making. And yet he had to co-sign for her first credit card because he was mad.
Yeah.
So now that obviously has changed, but I think we all know that the United States is going through a bit of an issue with women's rights at the moment. So, not that much has changed for women since the 50s. And that's a shame, but it does mean that there are life lessons to be learned in Mom's books on how to manage that. There's another story in the book where Mom was pitching Lamb Chop's play along to somebody. And the person said, well, that's a great idea, but what's to stop me from doing it without you? And Mom looked them in the eye and said, do not mistake me for Lamb Chop. So, underestimate Mom at your own expense. I
want some anecdotes also on those aspects of her, because like we always have the question of like the crush for puppetry. Do you have an anecdote of this kind, like that you feel she, and maybe as a businesswoman could be interesting too, that you like a moment like where she said, that's it, I'm doing that way with that show, or kind of fun.
Oh yeah, well, mom always knew what her vision was, and as the performer on stage, you can't let someone else change your vision. Doesn't mean you can't listen to their advice, But when she had new material, my dad would say, "Oh, I don't think that's funny," or "Do this instead." And my mom would say, "It's not your ass on the stage." So, there's lots of good advice in Shari Lewis and Lamb Chop, the team that changed children's television. Mom had sayings, "The day begins the night before," which means if you have a big show the next day or a meeting or a podcast, go to bed early. Don't drink. Get your clothes laid out. Take a nap before whatever you're going to do. Preparation and perspiration are what makes someone successful. Mom also used to say, it's amazing how lucky hardworking people are. Because people would say, "Oh, you're so lucky." She's like, okay, mostly she was really hardworking. She would also say, "How do you eat an elephant?" Which means, how do you tackle a big job? One bite at a time. Because we often will go, "Oh my God, how can I possibly put on a television show?" Well, it doesn't start with that. It starts with, what's the show about? Who are going to be my writers? Who's going to build the puppets? Where am I going to get the financing? So how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time.
Wow, that's good advice. And I feel she's like a businesswoman. She was, and you are also a businesswoman. You just like, boom.
Focus, people, focus. So.
Yeah, and we have people reacting on this. We have Ronnie LaDrew say, "Lovely to see and heard such great stories." Yeah.
Thank you. Where are you from, Ronnie?
Ronnie is in England. So yeah, and we have Mary Beth also who say, "Years ago I had the honor of interviewing Shari Lewis for a magazine article for teacher. I found her to be very pause, intelligent, educated." Yeah, that's so great. Professional.
You found right, because that is what she was. She was very focused. She created the term pretty much edutainment, which is the intersection of education and entertainment. And both my grandparents were also professors. So and my grandpa really felt that the best way to teach kids things was for them not to even know they were learning, to entertain, and therefore they would learn. So, yes.
Yeah, that's so true, because I've been in a discussion with someone like, does a show is educational? And people were arguing on that. It's not education. And I was like,
if you think about it, the way we teach the ABCs, I mean, at least here, we sing them to children, and that's how they learn them. So,
art is part of education. I love this word. Could you say it again?
Edutainment. EDU-tainment.
I will try to translate that, and I will get back to you. I don't know in French.
How would you say education in French?
Éducation.
Okay, and how would you say entertainment?
It's kind of like this word like don't really exist, but it's animation.
Okay,
animation, éducation.
Edu-animation.
Yeah. Edu-animation. C'est bon. Why not? C'est bon. I love it. Wow. And I want some advice also from the field of study. We often debate on that. What's the best field of study for someone to be into the art business and ventriloquism and puppetry?
Oh, best field of study. I would say there are 4. You need business. Otherwise, you're going to be an artist starving in a garret someplace, which is romantic in a book, not in real life. You need music, because, I mean, to me, that's the best entertainment. I would say you need dance for the discipline of dance, and writing, because if you can't write your own material, you will forever be at the mercy of other people writing your material.
Wow. Yeah. I like those 4. And yeah, this is true. When we have
Figure skating counts as dance.
yeah. Thank
And if you
you.
think about it, figure skating and music overlap,
Yeah.
as does dance and music. So,
Yeah. This is true. This is
and you
this
don't have to be the best singer in the world. I mean, I think I'm an amazing singer who doesn't move her lips. Now, am I an amazing singer compared to other amazing singers in the world? I can hold a tune, but you just have to love it. And really, at least I think that performing with a puppet it's more about how you reach out to the audience emotionally than it is. You don't have to be the best in the mom was very focused on being the best in the world. I focus on being as good as I can be and likable. So
likable. I like it.
likable.
Yeah, it's true. The charisma and all of that.
Forward.
Yeah.
I mean, the minute I saw your smiling face, I was like, I like Caroline.
Yes, and it's in the both way. I
Yeah.
like you too.
I will
You're
officially adopt you, and that means I get a granddaughter.
why not?
And you get lamb chop.
Yeah, big family.
That's right.
So great. I want to hear you also, Mallory, on your goal and maybe your mother goal, because I feel artists have goals and we envision the future, but what is maybe your goal for the future?
My mother's goal was to be the world's most famous ventriloquist whose legend lived on. And my goal is to, as it always was, help her achieve her goal, which was why I wrote the book, Shari Lewis and Lamb Chop, the team that changed children's television, and why we have an upcoming documentary, Shari and Lamb Chop, because I know that I would like to keep Lamb Chop alive for Mom and keep Mom alive for Lamb Chop for as long as I can.
Yeah. This is a tremendous
My goal
goal.
is also to become a better skier and to get proficient at barrel racing and to have a long and lasting and loving relationship with my husband and to have a happy son. Mom's goals were a lot more laser focused than mine are.
This is inspiring. Both are inspiring. I feel to be focused is important, but also to see life in a bigger picture is also important.
Mom was better at focus. I'm better at balance. So
that's why you're a good team.
Yes. We always were a good team. And what's nice is we still are a good team.
Yeah.
Even though she's been gone for, 24 years.
Yeah. And you win Amy.
We still we help. I mean, like, I get paid for the shows I do, but she's doing half the show. So, and I wouldn't be getting to do the show if it wasn't for her. But then again, she wouldn't still be around if it wasn't for me. So we're still excellent teammates.
Wow. This is
and it makes
great.
me feel so close to my mom. I mean, who gets to have a half hour of brilliantly edited footage of their mother looking their best, doing their best, and I get to see it. So I'm like, oh, I love that routine. Oh, I remember that outfit.
Wow. And we have a question from the audience. We have Jane who asked, is your son interested in puppetry?
My son toured with me the way I toured with my mother. And he still occasionally will go on the road with me and handle all of my sound equipment and cue my shows. But he just got his master's from Georgetown School of Foreign Service in international science and technology with a concentration in space commerce and energy security. I don't know what that means, but he does not play with puppets. Although then again, he is in the government, so there's some puppetry there.
I was thinking you will do government, puppetry, same thing. I want to ask you also on this, like the book title is like
Yep.
changing children television. I want to hear a bit of that because
Well, when Mom started, the only children's TV shows were usually the weather guy had also did the TV show, and he just was like, "Hey kids, it's Uncle Bob," or whatever, and it was awful. There was no quality to it at all. Then came Mom, and then came cartoons, which kicked Mom off the air. So that's when Mom reinvented herself as a writer, orchestra conductor, actress. She did Vegas, and then the FCC, which is federal, I don't know, they're a Senate thing. The cartoons started to not be, let's say, a cartoon about something and then they made a toy. It started to be, Hasbro would say, okay, let's make these toys and then do a show about it. So it started to be just a half-hour commercial, essentially. And so Mom testified in front of Congress. And at the end of her 3 minutes, because you're only allowed 3 minutes, Lamb Chop popped up and said, "Excuse me, Senator Markey, do I get my 3 minutes too?" And Senator Markey said, "Well, of course, Lamb Chop." So Mom actually got 6 minutes in front of Congress. And she was testifying that kids' TV needed to not be about selling sugary snacks, not about selling little toys. It needed to be, if we have the attention of our children, we need to use that time to teach them at the very least values, but preferably values and stuff, so, and to a certain degree that worked for a while. So she was the team that changed children's television.
Yeah, and I feel she had a big art. The fact that you want to educate and bring values and just like manners to
children are our only source of future adults.
Yeah.
So if we don't raise good children, if we don't educate our children, we're going to have some really crappy adults. And that's not good. I mean, my son went to private school, and I was always happy to vote for higher school taxes. Not because I felt like spending the money, but because I don't want to live in a world populated by stupid people. So, I mean, children are our only source of future adults, and we must invest in children.
That's so true. So, and maybe Lamb Chop have something to add on this, like investment.
I'm not sure. Are you? Oh,
hello, Caroline. Bonjour. See, I can speak French.
Bonjour, Lamb Chop.
Non ami.
Hein?
Bonjour, non ami.
Mon ami. Bonjour, mon ami.
Escargot.
It's the only other word I knew.
Oh.
Escargot.
Pamplemousse. Why don't you teach Lamb Chop how to say pleasure to meet you?
Oui, heureux de te rencontrer. Heureux.
Heureux.
De te. Rencontrer.
Rencontrer.
Ouais. Bravo. Rencontrer.
That's hard.
Well, you have to practice. If you're going to get good at anything, you have to practice.
Yes. You practice a lot for a 6 years old.
I do. I work really hard. I learn all of my songs, and I learn Mallory's part too. And I learned my comedy, and I had to help Mallory write the book because, she wasn't around in the beginning.
It's true. Lamb Chop has been around longer than I have.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
I'm the only little sister in the world who is older than her big sister.
True. And Lamb Chop, you changed the television, actually, and we have people in the audience in the live say, wow, art, bravo, j'ai compris.
Thank you.
They understand. It's in French.
What does that mean?
super. I had understand because she's French
Thank
and she
you.
don't understand all the interview, but she get the French part.
Mercy, Nancy.
Yeah. Lynch Up Live. Yes, Mary Beth, we have Lynch Up Live. Yes, so Lynch Up, do you have something like you want to share with us in memory of Shari?
This is the song that doesn't end. Yes, it goes on and on, my friend. Some people started singing it, not knowing what it was, and they'll continue singing it forever just because this is.
Okay, enough, Lamb Chop. How's that?
Amazing. Bravo. Love. Yes. And yes, we have Michael Morris.
Yes, Lamb Chop was on Sesame Street. She did an episode with Big Bird and I believe with a sheep that didn't want to be a sheep.
Yeah, I think it's a pig who is
A pig who wanted to be a sheep. That's it.
I saw it on YouTube. Everyone, you
Yeah.
can have a look on that.
Nobody should worry about what they are, because whatever you are, however you identify is just fine.
Yes, this
Right.
is so deep. At the same time, in the kids show, I feel and it's actual. It's still actual. This is a tremendous legend.
The human condition hasn't changed.
That's true.
So, the human condition hasn't changed. The ability to dye one's hair red has gotten better, but the basic human condition of all of us have insecurities, all of us have fears, anxieties, joys, and that's I think one of the things that made Lamb Chop so beloved is she was able to express things that grown-ups, even kids, were afraid to express.
That and I'm really cute.
Yeah, and you're cute. And I was wondering how you move your hand at the same time. Sometimes, like, I feel on Sesame Street, like the hand was like manipulated by someone or.
Well, there was a gentleman named Pat Breimer who used to make Lamb Chop. And he used to thread her little hands with monofilament and control them down here. So if it's originated at the hand and then went through the elbow and then out the back and then down, you could make the arms work.
Wow. Okay. That's kind of
Sometimes people trade secrets.
It's okay. These are our people.
Yeah, it's puppeteers around the world who listen this wonderful interview with Mallory Lewis and Lamb Chop in person live.
And with Caroline, who I think is so cute.
Thank you, Lamb Chop. So if people want to reach you, Mallory, want to know more about what you do, your legacy, what they
Mallory Lewis and lambchop.com. That's the easiest way. Or follow me on TikTok. I had a TikTok go kind of viral the other day.
I had a TikTok go viral.
Yes, it was your TikTok. Follow me at TikTok at your fave, F-A-V, Lamb Chop.
Oh, yes. We have like people who like this also. And
I'm pretty funny on TikTok.
If you do say so yourself. And yes, Michael, Lamb Chop did get to meet Kermit.
Yeah, meet the Muppet. Whoa, this is great. So Mallory, I will have to say goodbye. We have so much fun. We could have talked for an hour, I feel.
Yeah, we can do it again. And please, Puppet World out there, October 25th, the book comes out, but you can pre-order on Amazon. Shari Lewis and Lamb Chop.
The team that changed children's television.
Yes, because that's true. That's a team, and that's how we change the world. It's with a team.
Teamwork.
Well
and
said.
Remember, just be kind. And that's like, we live in difficult times right now. And I would say the one thing that if I had any advice to give is just be kind.
Yeah.
Try to be your best self. Think to yourself, what would Lamb Chop do?
What would Lamb Chop do?
Yeah, and we have people who say that too. Thank you so much, Caroline and Mallory, thank you. Thank you, Lamb Chop.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks,
both
guys.
charisma, passion, bright spirit. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Caroline. Send me a picture of the baby.
Yes, for sure. Stay in the virtual studio just a minute, and after the interview, we could
Okay, we'll
exchange
do.
that. So I push you out of the screen. Lamb Chop, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Attends, again. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Woohoo! Everyone, thank you so much for watching. This interview was really amazing. I just drop your thank you in the screen. Thank you, Rachel, Nancy, merci, merci. Yes, so cool to have everyone, the community who is gathering live, and also the community who watch after the fact, and it's great. So please, everyone, feel free to write to us if you have idea of guests that we should have in the podcast. If you have subject, we want to help artists. We want to bring the follow spot on them and help them to promote what they have to promote. Here was a book, and maybe next time someone has also TV shows want to promote. Puppetry is a great art form, and let's just expand it and conquer the world. So everyone, yeah, be kind, as we say in this interview, and like keep creating, keep promoting what you do, because it's what makes joy in the world. It's art work, and the artwork bring woohoo positive energy. So let's do this all together as a team. That was the motto of this episode. So everyone, have a nice evening and see you in the future.